everyone, it is December daily time again, and I am doing another album this year. This time it's going to be a little bit different. It's going to be still a junk journal style, which is kind of what I did last year with a cookbook. So if you're interested and you haven't seen that, you can check out my December daily videos from last year. I used an old vintage Betty Crocker, I think it is, cookbook. And I made my December daily with that. This year I am taking some inspiration from Lydia over at February and June on YouTube. If I remember, I'll try to link her in the description, but her YouTube channel name is February and June, and she always does awesome, fun junk journaling. And I really was inspired by the way she was doing it this year, and I just kind of wanted something a bit more simple. I didn't want like a structured book. I didn't want to do pocket pages. So I'm going to actually go off of how she is making her December daily, or at least very similar to it, the same kind of style or format. Also, I'm definitely not going to be doing this daily. It will probably just be as I have stories and things. So I don't need a ton of pages in here, but I want to make sure there's enough space so that I can do what I want to do. I plan on making this relatively flat. I don't plan on putting a lot of like detail that's really dimensional, but we'll kind of see how it goes. So the two things that I bought new this year are this vintage, the Sadness Village sticker book from Simple Stories, which I absolutely love Simple Stories, and then this Doodlebug paper line, and I just love the colors in it. This has more red, and this is more of a pinky color, but I thought some of the pastels that came in these stickers would still go nicely with this kit. Plus, I have a ton of other things that I can use. So this is what the kit looks like. It's really, really cute. This is what the little sticker pack looks like. And they are double-sided paper, and it's just really cute. Doodlebug is just such a cute paper line. Really, really think it's adorable. I don't use a lot of like cutesy stuff in my scrapbooking. I actually haven't done scrapbooking in forever, but I don't really do a lot of cutesy stuff, but I just really like this line, and I thought it'd be fun just to do something more whimsical and more cutesy this year compared to maybe some other years that I've done. So this is kind of where I'm starting, and what I'm going to end up doing is making a cover out of some 12 by 12 paper and then collaging on the front of it. That's very similar to what Lydia did. She's also going to do, or she also did some stitching on hers. I may not do the same kind of stitching that she did, but I am going to do something kind of similar. I may stitch around the edge and things like that. But I'm going to kind of pick out my papers, and then I'll be back to kind of show you what I'm going to end up doing. Okay, so I picked these two papers out. I think these are actually going to look pretty good with this. I really like this one. I'm just going to use this to extend the paper a bit. So I'm going to make the cover out of this, and this is going to be the inside cover, and then the outside cover is going to be where I'm going to collage. At least that's my plan for now. So what I want to do is I want to figure out how big I want the book, and I'm thinking I want it about the size of a composition notebook. So let me pull my journal out over here, and this is a composition notebook that I have. I'm thinking I want it to be about this big. I think that's going to be a good size for a December daily. Yeah, I think that's going to be a good size. So let me measure this to make sure I can get it about this size. So it's approximately 7.5 by 9 3/4. Okay. So seven and a half. So that would be 15. So I would need to get 3 more inches on here. So I would need to do, and it just has to be, it's just approximate. It doesn't have to be exactly this size. So it's not that big of a deal if it's not exactly. So let me see. I think I want to cut this way. Wait. Yes. And I probably want to cut maybe 3.5 inches, and then they'll have some overlap. I don't know exactly where the 1/2 inch mark is, but we'll kind of guess it's about there. Right. And then we will glue this into here. Make sure it's the right way. And then I just need to glue this on here. And I'm gonna line it up so I can do this somewhat straight. And then what I'll do is I will glue it about right there. And it's a little taller, but I will be trimming. I'm gonna cut it shorter, so right about there. So let me get my glue. And I'm just going to glue this edge down. And what I'm going to also do is use packing tape on the cover. I think that's what Lydia did, just to kind of keep it nice. And that will keep everything on the cover too and not falling off. And also keep it from getting gunked up. I thought that would be kind of a nice thing to do as well. So we will see if that makes sense when I get to that point. Oops, nope, I put it on the wrong side. I want to actually just put it there so we won't even bother. That is about straight. Close enough. Can't get the top on my glue. All right. And this won't matter because it's going to get covered up anyway, but I'll try to rub it off so it doesn't get sticky everywhere. All right. So that is the cover, the inside cover. So I'm going to make this, so this will end up going like this. I'm going to make this the back. And so I want to cut it to be 9.5. It's not going to fit in my cutter though, so I'm going to have to fold it in half first. So again, this is the inside and this is going to be the outside. I'm going to collage on it. So I'm going to fold it, make sure it's all straight and lined up. Maybe. Easier said than done. Probably should use my scoreboard for this. Oh my goodness. Actually, I don't really need it. I don't need it super flattened right now. Just cut it off. So I want it to be 9.5. Is that what I said? Let's see. 9 3/4. So right about there. Go. And I can just trim off the extra. Didn't cut super straight. All right. So that is the inside cover. And then what I'm going to do is I am going to collage on this side of the paper. So for that, I'm going to pull out a bunch of my stuff from my stash, different embellishments and things like that that are flat, so I can do a back page on the front. And I think I might grab some children book pages too. I'm not quite sure yet. So I'll be back in a little bit with what I'm going to put on the cover. Okay, I pulled a few things out. So I pulled out this paper. It's not quite what I was looking for because this is white. But for, I think, the cover, I think it's going to be fine. I just need something to put on the base more. So I do have this. I pulled out this paper pad because it has a lot of the same colors that are in the paper pad that I purchased. This is a couple pieces of scrap paper from a collection that I had. And then I pulled a bunch of paper out of my, what are they called? They're the, what are they called? Flow magazines. So I pulled a bunch of paper out of these books. I have 2 of them, and I barely ever pull anything out of them, so I figured might as well. And I really like this camera image. I may use it someplace in that whole album, but also the back, that color will work really well. And then I pulled several of these that I thought would work on the cover nicely. So you can just see the colors. I'm trying to kind of stick with the same theme. that the paper I have is. So, and if I don't use them on the cover, I thought they'd just be good inside the album too, or the book. So that is what I'm kind of working with. So I'm going to kind of collage using these papers and then on the whole cover. So I will probably either speed it up or do a voiceover for when I'm doing the collaging.
Okay, I am going to do a short voiceover, then I'm going to put some music on because I don't really have a whole lot to say about this, but I did want to mention that I am going to be just tearing all this paper up. I like the torn edge, and I'm going to be using a glue stick to glue everything down. At this point, I still thought I was going to use packing tape to put everything on the cover, but I since decided not to do that, and you'll see that towards the end of the video. I do stitch around the entire book, which you'll also see, but I decided that because I wanted the stitching on it and I didn't want to stitch through the tape, I decided just not to tape the cover, and hopefully it will hold up well enough. It's not something that I'm going to be pulling out over and over again except this month, so I don't feel like I need to put that tape on. Hopefully I don't regret that, but I really did not want to gunk up my sewing machine needle. So I'm just going to stick with the kind of the raw cover, if you will. So I'm just taking all the paper that I showed you a minute ago. I am glue sticking everything down and I'm just collaging over the background. So I will be back in just a little bit after this is all completed.
Okay, it's been a couple days now and this is fully dry. Next, I need to trim off all this excess and I need to embellish the front of the journal. I actually downloaded images from Tracy Reed, and she has this really cute Christmas digital collection that matches the paper and the colors perfectly. So I ended up purchasing that. She had a Black Friday sale for 50% off every item in her shop. I think it lasts until Monday maybe. So if you're interested, make sure you click on that link. Hopefully this video is up in time for you to do that. But go to her, Tracy Reed, and check out all her digitals. So even if the coupon is gone, she has some really great digitals. So highly recommend her. So anyway, I am going to trim off all the excess and then I'm going to start embellishing this. And I'll put you on fast forward, probably do a voiceover, maybe some music, and I'll be back in a little bit.
All right, I am going to be setting the rest of this video to music here in a couple of seconds, but I wanted to let you know that I did a little bit of a crazy thing with my filming. I did film this process. However, towards the very end, I started turning off the recorder and I thought I was recording. And then when I was recording, I turned off the recorder. So it was kind of crazy. I don't know what I was thinking. I don't know. I just was not paying attention to the little symbol showing me I was recording versus not recording. So the very end is a little bit funky, but basically at the end, I am trying to show you that I did some stitching and I did some inking of the doily. And so I'm going to come back on when I get to that point and kind of talk through that just a little bit. So I'll be back in just a couple minutes. Okay, so here is the part where I am putting the doilies on, and you'll see I'm going to do some corner rounding of this card, and then I'm going to ink the edges. So I ink the edges of the card in, I think, pistachio, and then I ink the edges of the doily in worn lipstick. I did show the inks, but unfortunately, like I said earlier, I did this weird recording thing where I just did the opposite. So I guess it's opposite day, but that is kind of what I did here. And then I decided I wanted to add some snowflakes. They are pretty muted, but I thought they added a little extra touch. And I like how they kind of married the top layers with the bottom collaging layers. So I just ended up gluing those all around. And then ultimately I will add these book corners that are metal. And again, I showed you those, but opposite day, like I said. And so this will just kind of help protect the edges of the book. They're a little bit small for this size of book, but it worked out. So thank you guys for watching and stay tuned for when I add the pages.